It lies with us residents and owners of La Jolla to make our jewel what we will, only keeping it always in harmony with its glorious natural setting. To do this, we must cultivate ourselves in our own hearts and lives, the spirit of all harmony and beauty and spirituality. From the upbuilding of character goes the outbuilding of beauty. Those were the words of Ellen Brown Scripps, arguably the most beloved resident in La Jolla's rich 122-year history. The La Jolla that Miss Scripps first made her home in during the 1890s, at the age of 61, was vastly different from the one she left at the time of her passing in 1932 at age 96. The changes that came about to build a beautiful community out of what was a simple little seaside town were due in large measure to her vision, philanthropic efforts, and true spirit of community. At the turn of the 20th century, La Jolla was an isolated Southern California spot with virtually no fresh water supply, transportation, or communication. About 200 residents were here at the time, in quaint beach cottages scattered up and down the hillsides, sparsely furnished with kerosene lamps and stoves. Miss Scripps was quick to observe La Jolla's natural seaside beauty on her first trip in 1895, and was encouraged to settle in Southern California by her brother E.W. Scripps, who owned a ranch in the Miramar area of San Diego. In the spring of 1896, Miss Scripps purchased 2 lots on the ocean side of Prospect Street, and there she built her first real home after many years of travel and work in the lucrative newspaper business that her family had founded back in the American Midwest. Once standing at the present site of the Museum of Contemporary Art right across the street from the beautiful church we're in today, Miss Scripps' house quickly became a majestic landmark in this small community. She called it South Moulton Villa, named after the street on which she had been born in London in 1836. Although South Moulton was the most spectacular residence of its time in La Jolla's central village, Miss Scripps herself remained devoid of ostentation. She was a quiet and reserved person with simple needs. Her interests were in what she could do for others and in supporting the community's interests and needs. Whatever the field, science, medicine, art, literature, music, and architecture, just to name a few. Like another great American patriot, Thomas Paine, she believed in positive social action for the benefit of others. And the magnificent example she set of giving up herself and her personal treasure to our community continued until the day she died. One of her first endowments, undertaken with Brother E.W. in the early 1900s, was a biological institution, now known as the world-renowned Scripps Institution of Oceanography. Another early gift was Scripps Hall at the Bishop's School in 1909. In 1913, Miss Scripps funded work on the first of La Jolla's many public buildings that today form the Scripps Guild District. Designed by famed architect Irving Gill and constructed at a cost of $40,000, the La Jolla Women's Club was completed in 1914. A landmark structure noted for its tilt-up concrete construction that Gill was soon to employ on future collaborations with Miss Scripps. As the Women's Club was being completed, Miss Scripps bought 2 large parcels of land bordered by Prospect Street and Draper Avenue and commissioned Gill to design a community house and children's playground for the site. The building and playground remain to this day as the La Jolla Recreation Center, where La Jollans still gather for meetings, classes, and play. As the years progressed, Miss Scripps continued her many La Jolla philanthropies to add to the character and life of the community. After breaking her hip in a fall in 1922, she decided La Jolla needed a larger, better equipped, and more modern hospital. What resulted was Scripps Hospital and Clinic, serving the sick and injured in a landmark building on Prospect Street before its expansion and move to the Mesa, just east of here in the 1960s. Though Miss Scripps never married, children were one of the greatest loves of her life. They were the impetus for her creation of the playground and later the children's pool as a protected ocean swimming area, one of the last endeavors of a rich and full life. In his 1958 biography of Miss Scripps, author Edward DeSalle Clarkson concluded, quote, "The complete extent of Miss Ellen's philanthropies is unknown, as she allowed no compilation of them to be made. Many of her gifts were secret or confidential. The present value of her beneficiaries in La Jolla alone is in the millions. Through Ms. Scripps' buildings, her charities, and the personal examples she set, Ellen Browning Scripps changed La Jolla. Ellen Browning Scripps shaped La Jolla. Ellen Browning Scripps was La Jolla. And we're grateful and proud today to say Ellen Browning Scripps is La Jolla. And for that, our community will forever cherish the legacy of this great woman.